Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, we just have had a really good game. England v Belgium. We're going to get another one. Again, England v Belgium. First of all, will you please welcome a man who's won 2 big TV tournaments, the World Trophy and the Zuiderduin Masters. In his 9th European Tour event, he is the Jemmy Dodger, James Wilson!
To a daydream believer and a homecoming queen. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream?
And now for James's opponent, one of 2 men who have played in each and every Euro Tour event ever held. He has won 2 of these events, also a Players' Championship finalist. He's currently ranked number 12 in the world, seeded number 6 in the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. From Belgium, the Hurricane, K.Huybrechts!
The sun setting here in Gibraltar. It's left to the stars of darts to light up this arena, and James Wilson just does anyway when he walks on, doesn't he? Mr. Happy, I think, would be a better nickname for him than Jammy Dodger. Nothing jammy about his 6-1 defeat of Gibraltarian qualifier Dylan Duo yesterday, but K.Huybrechts will be a very different prospect. We've just seen one Belgian win through in Dimitri van den Berg. Are we about to see another? What do you reckon, Dan?
Well, K.Huybrechts has got some serious European Tour pedigree, a winner twice on the European Tour. He's played in every single event. Only he and Peter Wright have done that. And he's threatened. He's a constant threat. He seems to save his best for the European Tour stages. He does say these Euro Tours are his favourite events. Most recent time he made a final was in Riesa at the International Darts Open. That's where he missed a number of darts for the title against Mensur Suljovic, who claimed the title. That was actually the scene of James Wilson's best run on the European Tour, where he made the semis. He was beaten in the semi-finals by Mensur Suljovic, quite comprehensively beaten in the end. But James Wilson, that was when he was playing his best stuff. In the lead-up to the European Championship, we had a great run there, and he beat K.Huybrechts at the European Championship. That is the one time that James Wilson has done that.
First leg is James to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, the Hurricane has got the better of Wilson on the other 4 occasions in which they've met, all in the last couple of years. Obviously, Wilson has only been playing in the PDC sort of 2.5 years. 3 of those wins
100.
K.Huybrechts were in Pro Tour events behind closed doors, but he got his revenge on the European Championship defeat with victory at the World Championship.
60.
Yeah, convincing win that for Kim on that night at Ali Pali, winning it 3-0. James Wilson didn't really get going, which was a disappointment because in the sort of few months leading up to that, he just seemed to have suddenly found his feet in PDC darts after scratching around.
He had a wonderful run where he was just a shoe-in for quarterfinals, converted many of them into semis, one final as well.
Yeah, he was very close to claiming the first PDC title at that stage, but the start of this year has not been as good for him. In fact, nowhere near, because you look at all the events, 6 UK Open qualifiers, 10 Pro Tour events in the Players' Championship Series, made the European Darts Grand Prix in Sindelfingen, and this is his 2nd Euro Tour of the year. And he has not made a single last 16.
We'll be looking to put that record straight.
60.
Could have chosen to knock the 1 off there by firing his last dart at
60.
bullseye. It's going to 25 and going to 2 darter rather than 3 in the end. Huybrechts is knocked down to a checkout anyway. Big win for Huybrechts' compatriot
45.
Dimitri van den Berg, Dan. I'm sure you're watching in the wings somewhere.
Yeah, watch that with interest. I thought that Dimitri might give James a game, but I really thought that the
97.
machine had
James
the job
required 56.
done, really, in that penultimate leg. Missed a couple of match darts, but it means we're going to have a new name on the trophy, of course. James Wade, the only man in this field who's won it before, double 18 for James Wilson, and it's there.
James Wilson.
And it's not only a first leg for James Wilson, but a break of throw as well. Yeah, the only other...
87.
Sorry, a hold of throw. I beg your pardon. But, yeah, the only other two players to win it, Michael Van Gerwen and Phil Taylor, of course, not here this
98.
weekend. Remains to be seen whether the extra time for preparation for Thursday night in the Premier League playoffs
96.
will pay dividends. Of course, if Peter Wright goes and wins this tournament and goes into it in red-hot form, having won yet another Euro Tour event, then blasts his way to a first Premier League title, then maybe
41.
you think he should have turned up.
See how that plays out. It's interesting how today's played out because the first 5 seeds went through. But since then,
41.
Yellow Clarkson, Joe Cullen, Gerwin Price and James Wade have all departed.
$97.
Looking at the remaining games, this one included, we
100.
can see shock potential. Henderson against Ian White, the number 11 seed, and number 3 seed Simon Whitlock against yesterday's top performer Steve Beaton.
A former finalist at this tournament, of course, Steve Beaton. A former winner on the European Tour. He's got as many Euro Tour titles as Simon Whitlock has. Simon Whitlock, a former European champion, of course.
Not many sports that have an Australian European champion.
Not many.
97. James, you require
But
125.
Darts is leading the way in every area. Now Wilson looking at the middle area of the board for one of the special finishes, but it's not going to happen.
$40. Can you require 80?
No, Huybrechts to hold his throw. Treble 20 for double 10. First bit's done. But not
70.
the second bit, and not
James
really
required
worrying that
85.
double 10 bet.
Yeah, it was almost halfway between the double and the treble, and James Wilson will get another poke at breaking. A bullseye it is.
36.
Last twice he's took aim at
You require
bullseye,
10.
not even found the 25.
Game shot on the second leg. Kim Huybrechts.
Yeah, and he does miss out. It is
So I
a
think it's
couple of
James
holes of
to
throw
throw
in
first.
this one.
Game on.
Winner of this will face either Ian White or John Henderson. Our next game on stage, the penultimate one of day 2 of the action. It's all setting up the last 16 or round 3, which will be played tomorrow afternoon with the quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the final to come in the evening. £25,000 to the winner.
Yeah, it's been a decent second day of action. Seen almost
100.
twice as many 180s as we saw on the first day. Around twice. May even be more than twice as many.
And
Loads of ton plus checkouts.
yes, some big checkouts.
98.
Standout performer has to be Mensur Suljovic, but there was pretty solid stuff from the likes of the top seed Peter Wright. Dimitri Vandenberg got the job done against James Wade. Dave
57.
Chisnell, curious performance from Chizzy in the end. I mean, the average was only in the mid-80s. It's nothing like what we've seen from Chizzy over the last few weeks. But
Yeah, and he could have lost that game, but for a Connie Clayton horror show
80.
miscount. Would have had a really different complexion.
100.
Right now you get the feeling that this pair are just simmering away.
97.
yeah, general murmur around the crowd here at the Victoria Stadium. Just need one of them to kick in and give something to cheer about.
100.
That might do it.
James required 92.
So it might be in vain. Now Wilson has a choice whether to play the percentages or gamble. Gamble has paid off by getting him 2 darts at double 16. Different thing hitting it
Game
though,
shot on the
but he
third
does that.
leg. James Wilson. Well, I think it's Kim to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, needed the 2 darts in the end. James Wilson clears up that 92, and
100.
it is tough taking on K.Huybrechts on these European stages. There's very few people with more experience of playing on
60.
the European stage in K.Huybrechts. In terms of number of games played, I think only Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright have played more.
Looking for another
140.
180, not going to happen. Yeah, you could do worse and advise someone to place their golden chip on K.Huybrechts in this tournament.
Yeah, this is in the other half of the
92.
draw from Peter Wright, Chizzy, Michael Smith, a 3-time Euro Tour winner, Alan Norris, a winner on the European Tour before now.
100.
But then again, you look and nothing looks easy. You know, Ian White or John Henderson, Daryl Gurney's in this quarter of the draw along with Simon Whitlock and Steve Beaton. So it's this quarter of the draw that we're waiting to set up over the last 3 games. It's just
43.
a quirk of the scheduling for tonight that we've
161.
started focusing on this particular quarter. Everything else set up. Huybrechts going to stay up there.
Yeah, of
99.
course, the schedule on the final day, as always, will be in draw bracket order. So Peter Wright will open the show on Sunday afternoon. Oh, it's a bounce out from James Wilson.
80.
He does get a lot of
Premier
those,
Bar
and
62.
it is puzzling as to why they happen so often for James Wilson, because they do cost him.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
And
Kim
K.Huybrechts takes out 62.
Like
It's
it's James
4
to
legs in
throw
a
first.
row.
Game on.
We've had holds a throw.
I'm quite a fan of James Wilson's
134.
throwing action. I said yesterday, it looks as almost like he's got a reference point in the middle of his nose. So he releases a dart from the same position every time. K.Huybrechts isn't bad.
140.
Yeah, I have to say, I do struggle to see why James Wilson has so many darts fall out of the board, because they look like they're thrown with power and authority,
98.
but I think it may just be the angle that they're entering the board at sometimes.
Well, the one that we saw bounce out then seemed to hit the other dart.
140.
So that can happen. You are right, Dan. We have seen matches where he's had several darts fall out, bounce out.
81.
He's throwing new darts, James Wilson. I think he's waiting on some new ones, but he's still using a sort of temporary set, which he's actually got quite used to and likes.
100.
And there are certain players that have tinkered for many a year. Number 1 seed Peter Wright and 16-time world champion Phil Taylor, the pioneers of that club, I guess. But over the last few years, you do see the top players tinkering
40.
with, even
Give
if
you
you're not changing the full dart, the
121.
length of the point, the shape of the flight, the size of the stem.
Well, certainly K.Huybrechts is a guy who's moved to longer
50
points now. It
seconds.
used to be that K.Huybrechts,
Changing
you'd see his,
require
the barrel was almost
148.
right up to the, the point was completely lost in the board. But now that the dart stands a little bit further away, it should theoretically leave more room for you to find your way to the treble bed. James Wilson needs to put another one in that treble bed, and does so for double 14 for a massive one. Oh,
134.
just misses inside. Would have saved his skin and given him another hold of throw and gone 3-2 up. But this is the area of the board that K.Huybrechts likes. Double 8, 2 darts at it. Double 4.
Game shot
Break
on
a
the
throw,
5th leg.
first one of the match.
K.Huybrechts.
3-2 to the Belgian.
Yeah,
Like
James
it's
Wilson
Kim to
hit the
throw
post
first.
there, and
Game
K.Huybrechts
on.
smashed it in the back of the net. And that has given him the advantage, really, in this contest. And there's plenty of room in there, just to illustrate your point, Dan.
180.
Well, he does have the lot, K.Huybrechts. He can score well. He's deadly on double 16. When he is playing well,
45.
he is a top player. That's why he's made the Premier League for a couple of years. Admittedly, I don't think he's done himself justice in the Premier League. But we've seen what he is capable of.
93.
You don't want to keep going back to that incredible quarter-final at the Grand Slam where he beat Michael van Gerwen and smashed Michael van Gerwen up for a 9-darter as well. But it's not just that. We've seen him before take the game to the biggest
100.
names in the game. Made the final of the Players' Championship finals. That was kind of a breakthrough performance for him. Admittedly, he was beaten by Phil Taylor, but, you know, you're not a dart player till Phil Taylor's been you in a final. And that is another maximum for Kim Huybrechts.
Yeah, 2 in the leg, and there's his brother Ronnie, who, of course, he's reached a World Cup final with as well. And, of course, they've got a fantastic rapport, but in terms of some of the pairings, Ronnie was a much lower-ranked partner.
Game shot on the 6th there, Kim Huybrechts.
And we do have a little bit of daylight between these two now. Kim Huybrechts moving through the gears. 11 dart leg there.
Fantastic leg of darts.
128.
He's in there again. Can't follow up this time.
100.
He just seems to be pulling away a little bit, and James Wilson needs to find something to stop the rocks. Could this be it? Could this be it?
180.
Well, it is a start. His first maximum of this match. Kim Huybrechts has already hit 3. Kim has the break of throw that he needs.
100.
James Wilson, it's only his 2nd Euro Tour of the year. He couldn't do much about his performance in Sindelfingen. He played Jan Dekker, who averaged 108 in the first round. Was by far the best player in round 1, and to be
59.
honest, his finishing over the course of the tournament was better than anybody else there. It was unreal from Double Dekker. Just got to chalk that one up to experience
100.
and move on.
James, you require 134.
But for the missed 148, it could be a different story so far in this match. That's a long way away from whichever of the 2 trebles he was going
80.
for. Maybe caught in 2 minds in the end, but he is down at 54 after 12 with Huybrechts not on a finish.
100.
That's enough to keep him interested, 54. Kim. 14 for tops for James Wilson. Oh, he's gone 18 for double.
Game shot on the 7th.
And it was the
there,
right
James
decision,
Wilson.
evidently.
8th leg is Kim to throw first. Game on. $57.
James Wilson needs to find a break from somewhere.
$92.
Robin switching over to the 18s.
Yeah, he does that, James Wilson, perhaps more than most players on the circuit.
Quite an old school shot, that, isn't it? It's the sort of shot you see guys in the pub, too.
Yeah, I think Priestley was a fan of that one. Not that I've seen Priestley do it in the pub. I've seen him do it on the biggest stages in darts.
Yeah.
59.
Legendary Dennis Priestley. His mate still going strong, Darren Johnson, into the final day of a European Tour event, having knocked
59.
out Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, enjoying it. Something of a fabulous encore in his career this year, Darren Johnson.
Certainly is. Again, we see a successful switch to the treble
92.
18.
If Huybrechts doesn't find a treble here, there is plenty of pressure.
100.
Only one, and it's still in James Wilson's hands.
Yeah, certainly is. Just needs to think about this. May switch to the 18s. Well, now he'll stay on the 20s. Oh, no, he won't. Well, I thought that he'd stay on the 20s because 158, you don't need to finish on the ball, whereas 164 you do, but...
Maybe he just felt blocked by the dart underneath the treble.
140. James, you require 164.
Well, let's see if he gets a shot at the ball then. I think it'll be treble 20, treble 18, the way he's been throwing.
Sensible route. He's been hitting treble 18 with some regularity, but
100.
unable to give himself a
85.
shot. Kim Huybrechts, 19s or 15s? It's 15s, 20s now. Gets the treble, double 5.
75.
Long way high
James,
for
you
Kim
require
Huybrechts.
64.
Ronnie just pretending he doesn't know him. Ignore him.
Can't have been Kim to miss by that far, but Wilson is presented with a golden opportunity. Only one double though. Well, he's going to hit 2 doubles if he's going to finish off the shot.
Game
And he
shot
has.
on the 8th leg. James Wilson.
All aboard the showboat,
I think it's
completely
James that goes
unintentionally.
Game on.
But it looks good.
He does look good, and you can see why that's happened, because James Wilson is looking at that. He's looking 16 for double 16. He's thinking, if I just miss inside here, then that's a perfect guide to follow it into the double bed. Usually when you're looking at giving yourself a marker for a double, you're looking at missing outside. Because if you miss inside, you've got to go for a different double anyway. But in that instance where it's single for the double, and he's still got a smirk on his face, James Wilson.
93.
And sometimes you can accidentally hit the double, and with double 16, if you're going to do it, it's not that bad most of the time, because you've got to go just next door, although in the end, it might have been a bit of a blocker. He did well to find his way through the double 8.
Certainly did, but it's twisted back in his favour because he has the throw in this leg, and that means if it does go all the way, he'll have the throw in the decider as well.
When we mention these head-to-head stats, sometimes these guys haven't met for a number of years in some cases, and you wonder how relevant that is. But, they've had a couple of very recent meetings. One at the World Championship, one in March in Barnsley. Both of those won by K.Huybrechts. But James Wilson, that win at the European Championship, that will be firmly fixed in his mind, because that turned into a massive week, or weekend, for James Wilson. Going on to make the quarterfinals, only beaten 10-7 by James Wade. Wilson beating Mervyn King as well as K.Huybrechts in that run.
100.
And it was the culmination of a lot of hard work and some excellent performances that Wilson had put in the intervening months, particularly on the European Tour.
Certainly was, and it's decent stuff again here from Wilson, because Huybrechts has
43.
only managed to muster up 43 there and left himself a huge outshot. So James Wilson would expect 9 times out of 10, possibly even more times, to get 6 starts for this, but he might make sure by pinning it in 3, which is exactly what he does.
Well, this is very, very impressive from James Wilson, because at 4-2 down and K.Huybrechts seemingly moving through the gears, it looked as if the Belgian, a veteran on the European Tour circuit, was going to run away with it. But Wilson has dug deep and found something. He's taken out checkouts of 54, 64 and 118.
140.
And he is neck and neck with Huybrechts in this leg.
Yeah, add that to his 92 earlier on in the piece as well. Been clinical stuff from James
96.
Wilson.
He's 6 points behind on the averages, James Wilson, because there have been some legs where Huybrechts has just demolished him.
57.
But he has found enough, at enough time so far, to get himself 5 legs, and he only needs the 1 more to set up a meeting with either Ian White
45.
or John Henderson. Those two in action next, and it may not be very long away.
And it has been the finishing. It's been nip and tuck, really, because both players have had as many darts at double as their opponent, 8 apiece.
40.
Yeah, but 5 out of 8 for James Wilson. Very, very impressive. To find a treble. Oh, what a dart. That is important dart for K.Huybrechts. Leaves him a Shanghai finish. Wilson knows if he could fire in a ton, he gets to a finish. A ton 40, there's a chance. A ton 80 would be perfect. Oh, and it looks so good, doesn't it? It looks so good. Oh, and it deflects out. It's a savage deflection.
You require 120.
Makes a huge difference to James Wilson's prospects of this leg, but Huybrechts has landed a dart in the same place.
James, you require 141.
Oh, were it not for the deflection, James Wilson had only needed 1 dart and a treble to have a dart for the match. As it is, he needed 2, and he's not going to do that. However, he's going to be very handily placed.
95.
95 scored, 46 remain. K.Huybrechts, the 78 has to go. That's perfect. Double 12, double 6.
72.
2 missed darts from Huybrechts, and is an ever-present on the European Tour, about to be dumped out in just the second round. James Wilson to claim just a second victory over Huybrechts in his professional career. The jammy dodger. Well, he keeps leaving double 18. Is it 10 for double 18 again?
Could be. It is. And the Yorkshireman looking to send the number 6 seed, K.Huybrechts, packing from the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. The first start is a long way away, so he's had to reset. And it's worked a treat. What a win for James Wilson. Contrasts in fortunes for the 2 Belgian players. Last match we saw the unseeded Dimitri van den Berg defeat James Wade. K.Huybrechts, the number 6 seed, sent home by James Wilson, who moved through to the final day of action to take on either Ian White or John Henderson. That is coming up next. before they get on stage, we are going to hear from a very, very happy and deservedly so Jammy Dodger, James Wilson. He's through.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, K.Huybrechts. Congratulations, James. It took a bit of time before the match actually got going, didn't it?
Yeah, very hard. I mean, me and Kim, we played each other, you know, obviously in his finals he beat me, Worlds, you know, he beat me, and it was like, this time it's like a grudge match. But like I said, me and Daryl will be practicing as doubles, and me and Daryl, we're kind of hitting him when it counts.
Yeah, Daryl did so this afternoon, you're doing it now. How are you feeling? You must be over the moon at the moment.
Oh, fantastic. You know, it's been hard work. The past 6 months, you know, I've had to change my darts, you know, and change a lot of things in my throwing. But they're getting good. They're getting better. I've just got to get rid of the old ways and, you know, get into it. And Mark, we're going home Monday, pal.
Because he's going to stay another day. He's back tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, James Wilson.